guys, welcome to Debbie's Rusty Brush. All right, so today what we're doing is an upcycle of an old high chair. And the reason that we're turning this high chair into a planter is because it's just not usable as a high chair any longer. There's no tray to it. It was given to me. One of the back legs actually has a split all the way down the back of it. So it is sturdy enough. I have sturdied it up. It's sturdy enough as a planter, but will never be safe enough for a child to use it as a high chair again. So that is why we're going to go ahead and completely change this. We are going to cut a hole in the seat so that it cannot ever be used as a high chair again, just for the safety of little children's. Okay, so we're going to start, and I'm going to show you a trick on how to do a circle, and to transfer a circle the size that you want it onto something that you want to cut out. So we're going to start with that little trick. I will let you know as I'm showing it to you what exactly I'm doing. Okay, so here what I'm doing is just measuring to get the center of the seat from side to side and front to back, because we need to find the center in order to do my little trick. All right, so now what we're doing is I've got a screw. We're going to put it down where the center of the circle once is going to be. We want to find a drill bit that is just slightly smaller than your screw and drill a pilot hole. And then we're just going to screw this screw down into the center. Okay, so if you want your circle to be 7 inches, take 3.5 inches and set your tape measure. Put it down, run your pin around the little hooky bob and the tape measure right around that screw. And that will give you a perfect circle. And if not, just zooge it a little bit and it'll be fine. Okay guys, so that is how you draw on the circle the size that you want it onto this planter. Now, I am going to use my jigsaw to cut this out. But I am going to let you know that as I'm doing this, it was a struggle because I would have liked my circle to be a little bit bigger than it was, but I could not fit it on the seat and actually cut it out. I did struggle a little bit getting the circle cut out due to the arms and the back rungs, and the fact that they just get in the way as you're trying to cut this circle. So I struggle a little bit, but I do get it done. It's not completely as smooth as I would like it to be because of the struggles, but it's done and it will work. Okay, so in order to get your blade down in there, you're going to want to take your drill, take your biggest bit that you've got, drill a couple of holes, and that way you can start with the blade on your jigsaw. And then you just go around the circle. Now, as you can see, I go so far, I hit the rungs there, and it's just not going to go around any further. So I go ahead and take it out in separate pieces. And eventually I get it good enough that we can use it. Okay, so then I'm just going to give it a good sand around that circle to smooth it out and give the rest of it just a quick surface sand so that our paint sticks really well. And then I'm just taking Crud Cutter and giving it a good clean, getting all of that dust off from cutting and sanding, and getting any dirt and grime off from years of being in use. All right, now guys, I'm going to show you how to do the ombre on this high chair. I did not film the first coat of paint going on. And the reason I didn't is because I did it backwards. I meant to do it backwards because I wanted to start at navy at the bottom, and I wanted to move up into a yellow color at the top. And my second color, I went from navy to purple into a pink. And my purple is actually a mixture of the purple or the blue and the pink to make that purple. And I wanted to see exactly where my lines were going to be for each color. And it was just easier for me to visualize starting at the bottom and moving up. Now, when you do other projects, you really want to start at the top and move down. Because if you drop any paint as you go, you're not messing up what you already did. So I did not film that first section, that first coat of paint, as I blocked in my colors, but I did film the second portion where I come from the top down and I show you how to blend into the next color. So I'm going to show you that now, and I'll do a voiceover on that of what I'm doing as I do it. I'll speed it up a bit, but we're going to go to that point. Okay, so for the second coat here, I'm just starting at the top and I'm going in with Daisy. I'm doing the top of the arms and halfway down the rungs, and I'm just getting that second coat put on. I want to make sure that I've got really good coverage all the way around those rungs. Doing this ombre on a high chair like this, or any chair that has these rungs, does make it a little bit difficult. But it can be done. Now I'm just going in with some buttercream and putting it right at the top and just blending that in right there at the top so it comes up to a little bit lighter yellow. So I have that one last little change. And now I'm going to go through and put on a coat of apricot and get that second coat of apricot on. Now I do go back and I put a third coat right on the seat part, which will have the basket sitting there. I wanted to make sure that it would get more water there, it would have more wear and tear, so I just wanted to make sure that it had extra protection. So I do a third coat there. Otherwise, all of it has only 2 coats on it. So now the underside of those handles is done in the apricot, and as well as the underside of the high chair itself is done in apricot. And I did that second coat off camera because I do have to lay it down to be able to do that. So I did do the underneath coatings of that and the step off camera, and get those double coated before I started this. Now, as you can see, I pulled out my spray bottle, my Mr. bottle, and I'm taking a blending brush that has no paint on it and just kind of blending my apricot up into my daisy and my daisy down into my apricot. If I feel I need a little more paint, I'm just putting on a little bit more apricot and bringing it up into that daisy a little bit. And it just mingles these colors really nicely, and it gives a nice transition between the 2 colors. And so the trick is to have that clean, dry brush that you can mingle those colors back and forth and get a smooth transition between the 2. And so if you don't have enough brushes, what you'll want to do is clean the one brush off between colors. So between my yellow and my apricot, I only use this one brush. I put a little bit of water on there. I rub it really good on paper towel and get it good and clean so that I can use it as the transition between my peony, which is this bright pink, and my apricot. And so right now what I'm doing is going ahead and putting on a coat of my peony. And I didn't quite get my camera down far enough. We're getting that brush cleaned off so that we can use it as our transition brush. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my apricot right around the rim of the top of the rungs there, and bring up some of my peony up into that, and then blend it down and around. You just want to make sure that you don't have any harsh lines, that you're blending and getting those colors to blend in and have no harsh lines, where it just goes from one color to the other, and you have that third, fourth color right in there at that blend, going up from one color to the next. This was a challenge with this, because you have to get not only the front but the back, and to try to get them to blend together evenly from front to back. And so it does take a little bit of doing and a little bit of playing to get that to happen. But just be patient, and remember, it is just paint. And if you need to start over to get a better blend, you just start over and start your blend again, and just keep working it until you get something that you're happy with. Now, as you can see there, I did go in with more pink, I did go in with more apricot, blended those together with the brushes, and then I took my blending brush to finalize that blend and get any harsh lines out, and try to get an even blend from rung to rung so that it looks like it's cohesive. All right, so now I'm going to jump down, and I'm going to put the navy in, because I'm going to mix the navy and the peony, and that's not navy, I'm sorry, that's Bunker Hill Blue, but I'm gonna mix the Bunker Hill Blue and the peony to get that purple color. And so I've already coated my pink, and I want to go ahead and put my navy on so that I can get my pink in there and blend my purple, make my purple color, blend it into my navy. And my last step will be to blend the purple into the pink. It just is the easiest way to do it, versus trying to continue to go down at that point, because I need the blue and the pink to make that purple color. And so right here, I do change up my transition a little bit and go from bottom on up to the pink, because I am working that entire area back and forth from blue through the pink all at one time, so that I can make that purple and get it blended in. The hardest part about doing this is to get those side rungs, because you need to get not only the top where you can see as you're painting, but you need to get the bottom, and you need to get the inside, and transition there as well, with a nice blend into the upright stanchion of the high chair. So you've got a few junctions there that you're trying to blend all at once, and so that can take a bit of doing, but just keep playing until you're happy and you have no harsh lines. Now, as you can see, this section is taking me a little longer, and I am using more brushes. I do have my brush to blend the color between the blue and the purple. I also have a pink brush, a purple brush, and a blue brush. And then I have the two blending brushes, so that I'm not getting that navy up into the pink. I'm only bringing the navy up into the purple and the pink down into the purple, and blending separately up and down. And so I'm at this point technically doing those three colors all at one time, versus just doing one color into the next, into the next. I did have a purple that I could use
and not have to blend it, but it was just a little bit off color from where I wanted it to be. It was a little too harsh of a purple, and by taking the pink and taking the Bunker Hill blue, I was able to blend a color that naturally flowed through those two colors because my hues were the same in that purple as they were in my Bunker Hill blue and in my Peony. So I hope that explanation makes sense. The hardest part of my blending here was to blend around this top rung that goes side to side, because it was high enough that it had more pink in it. And so it was a little hard to blend that and get a good blend between the purple and the pink right there at that junction. So it took a little doing, but I was happy with the way it came out in the end. Just keep playing back and forth until you get the result that you're looking for. Guys, always remember that this is just paint. If you start muddling more than you want to, let it dry and start over. You can just add another coat. So don't ever feel like, oh, I messed up, because it is just paint and you can paint over it. Worst case scenario is you have to sand it back a little bit and get some of the paint that you've put on there off and start over. But that very seldom happens, especially using chalk paints. They blend and meld and mingle really, really well. They go on and stay on. In this case, I am using Dixie Belle. I also use DIY paint in other projects, and I quite often mix the two products together, as well as mixing in some Waverly from time to time, whatever I have. I don't have access to Dixie Belle or DIY without traveling at least an hour to get any of the products. So sometimes I do grab Waverly from Walmart, because we do have a Walmart here, but I get out of town enough that I am able to keep a decent supply of my paints when I'm out of town. Also, remember, there are many of the retailers that will ship these products to you. I am one of those girls that I would rather take a 3-hour trip, buy my paint, and get it home and start working with it versus waiting.
All right, so now that we have that done, what we're going to do is attach some eye hooks, because on an earlier video, I aged a bucket using paint, and I want that to be the second spot to plant in this planter. I didn't want a bunch of dead area underneath the planter. I wanted to have some plants growing down there as well. So we need to attach our bucket, and we're going to do that with a couple of eye hooks, a couple of S hooks, and some chain that I got at the hardware store. I had them cut it down to the length that I wanted, and so I need to get the eye hooks put in the bottom so that we can get that bucket hung.
All right, so we just got some cup hooks that we're going to put in evenly from one side to the other. I use my needle nose to get them finished in there and get them good and tight, and that's it.
All right, so now that the eye hooks are in, we're going to clear coat our creation. Now, what I'm going to do, I want it to be for outside use. I want to know that it's going to hold up to the weather. So what I use for that is Rust-Oleum Clear. I did do this in a satin. I really like the flat finish, but I did this in a satin. And the reason that I did the satin was I just feel that the sheen gives it a little bit more protection being outside than a matte finish does. So I'm gonna go ahead and just spray that. Now, I would like to do this outside because I'm not set up to spray in my studio, but we have a foot of snow outside, so that is just not cooperating. So I go ahead and I do this inside, but I did open the door. I want a well-ventilated area, and you should have your mask on. I did not, so do as I say, not as I do. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you spraying the underneath of it and the rungs, and then I will continue to do the entire piece.
Okay, so just put a couple of coats of this Rust-Oleum on here. 2 or 3 should do it. And just make sure that you keep the product shaken up and do thin coats so that you don't have runs.
Okay, so now that we've got the bucket hung on it, we've got it clear coated, we've got it all painted and looking pretty, all we have to do is add the sign. Now, we did make the sign in an earlier video. It says I wet my plants. It is also done in an ombre. It does not have any yellow on there because I knew I was going to hang it over where the yellow is. And all I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put it up there, and I have already clear coated it separately so that there are no weak points in our clear coat. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my pneumatic air gun and my nail gun and nail it on, and then we'll be...
All right, guys, sorry, I kind of got in the way of this. My husband was kind of shoving me to the side, letting me know that I was in the way. So here it is. It's all done and looking good.
All right, guys, so that is it for this video. This has been my high chair reimagined into a planter. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, hit that little bell so you get notified anytime I upload a video. And as always, I appreciate you hanging out with me. All right, take care and see you next week. Bye-bye.